welcome to Long's Toys. Today we're taking a look at Transformers Generation Select Seacons Gulf, aka Skalor here in the States. Takara Tomy has done a Seacons set. Well, not really a set, but they are doing all of the Seacons as part of the Generation Selects, releasing them, it seems, 2 at a time. Gulf came out at the same time as Turtler, which is the Japanese name for Snaptrap, which is the center of the combiner. And I don't know, I love the Seacons. They're featured very prominently in Transformers Super God Master Force, which is a Japanese-only show. One of my favorite pieces of Transformers fiction. So I definitely needed to get a hold of these, and I was kind of freaking out for a moment because I missed the pre-orders on the Hasbro Pulse. They put these guys up, and I don't know, for some reason I thought I was going to get them on HLJ, and then I realized they were like a Takara exclusive that they were doing through Takara Tomy Mall, which is like their premium Bandai basically. And but Hasbro was going to have them, so then I was scrambling to find a pre-order. Everyone was sold out. It was a whole debacle, but I got lucky and I got these from TF Source. So if you're looking, check out TF Source. They may still have them available. I'm really not sure, but I found them and was able to buy them. They were in stock, so I was very, very excited. They just came today. You can tell this is the like brown mailer packaging that they come in. I wanted to just show this off, and we can open this up, and I will slide the packaging out. There we go. So now you have the actual packaging, Generation Select Seacons Gulf. Very cool. And this is essentially just a slipcover over the kind of cardboard package that we're used to for Generation Selects. But this is not quite the same. You can see it has the Decepticon symbol, says Takara Tomy up here. Doesn't have that like white sticker that they usually have that seals it. This is not sealed in any way. So we just go ahead, lift this up. I guess I didn't show off the back. The back's boring. So we go ahead, lift this up. Are you ready for this? Look at that beautiful boy. That is awesome. Go ahead and lift the plastic tray out. I am super pumped for this. I am really, really excited for these. I think it looks great. You can see he's got a kind of sword weapon there. Then he's got the kind of fist slash foot. I think this is the Power of the Primes, like fist design, because I think that has, this piece is where the Prime Master would have gone. But he looks great. That's really, really cool. Also inside here we have the directions, which of course we will need. And then that is pretty much it for that. So I'm going to go ahead, get this guy all out of the plastic here, and then we'll take a closer look. So here's Gulf out of the packaging. I think he looks really, really cool. I think they did a nice job. He's definitely a little bit brighter blue than is showing up on camera. But they perfectly captured the strange, weird fish with arms creature that he is. It's really, really good. Beautiful paint applications. The pink, the blue, the kind of lightish pink, I guess that's what this color is, look very good. Silver for the teeth are great. Mouth can open and close, which is pretty excellent. The arms do swivel, but that's about it. The legs can swivel, but they also have some out to the side movement as well. But this is one solid piece, so there's no individual joints or anything in here, which I think kind of makes sense for how small it is, but it's definitely a weird, goofy fish creature, and I'm here for it. He does come with some guns that you can mount on the side, like this. So we'll go ahead and do that. Peg in very easily. Looks good. He also comes with this hand slash foot piece. But it's actually pretty cool. It's got individual fingers, which I appreciate. And then it's got kind of a joint here for the thumb, but then also like a second joint in the middle so it can switch sides. So you do have that little bit of extra posability there. And then it does have this piece on the top that you can unpeg. So if you wanted to put a Prime Master in there, you certainly could. And then this piece otherwise just pegs back in here very simply. So pretty cool. They're like souped up Power of the Prime hand accessories. I like them quite a bit. Very cool. And then he also has what I'm assuming is like a sword. I don't really see anywhere to peg this in. The directions, it's kind of funny. The directions don't really show this at all. I've kind of been looking through them. Like, it doesn't even show the robot holding it at any point. So I don't know if this is maybe a piece for like a large combined weapon later on for King Poseidon. I don't know. But I'm assuming he could use it as a blade in the meantime. But it does kind of look like it's going to peg into something, doesn't it? So I feel like this might be like a piece for later, but I guess we'll get there. But yeah, let's go ahead. Let's get to the robot transformation for this guy. But I absolutely love the weird fish mode. It looks great. Alright, so transformation's really not too difficult. First thing we're going to do, this whole tail piece just lifts straight out. You can see there's a little tab on the bottom, and that just pegs into, there's a little peg hole in between on the bottom of this crotch piece. It's kind of hard to see right now, but I'll show it off later. But that just comes right out. Put that off to the side. Next, you're going to lift this out of the way. And then you can see the legs here already. This whole section is going to lift out. You can kind of just move the legs out to the side just so they don't get in the way. But just kind of grasp here and here. And then this is going to lift right out and should come up. And you'll see what it was. There's two pegs right here and here. And they were pegged in right there and there. So now you're just going to bring this all the way down. You're going to bring these around, and there's a tiny peg hole right there and a tiny peg right there. Now the nice thing about this, I'm going to split the legs apart now just to show you how this works. Later on when you're doing leg and arm configurations and things, you're going to open this up because this is kind of a repaint / remold of, I'm thinking, one of the aerial bots. With this little piece coming down like this, I'm thinking what eventually became Dreadwind, but that's just my guess. But you'll see that if this is pegged onto there, you can't open these. So just be careful. It's nice because in robot mode, when it's pegged in, it keeps it together, and that's not going to flop open on you. But just make sure you're not trying to pull this open without unconnecting the leg, because otherwise it's possible it could break. So just be a little careful with that. But otherwise, you've got pretty much your legs right there. So I'm going to zoom out and tilt this up just a smidge. Basically, at this point, this whole giant thing is just going to rock back. And unfortunately, it is just going to become a large backpack piece. There's not really anything they could do. It's pretty massive, but it looks fantastic. So that's just going to kind of bend those around to there. And otherwise, that's kind of funny because it looks like there's a seam, like it should come apart, but it's just kind of a big shell. You can close up the mouth if you want. At this point, you can probably figure out what to do. You're just going to loosely untab these because they're kind of loosely tabbed together. This is going to drop down, form one of your arms. This is going to form the other. Getting the arms out of here is a little difficult. I should say the arms. Getting the hands, the fists, out of the forearms. Not getting the arms out of themselves because that doesn't make any sense. Alright, so getting the hands out of the forearms. There we go. And then, of course, we just spin the head around. And you're pretty much done. At this point, you just want to position the head. Basically, you can see how it's kind of a... Let me zoom in here. Whoop. You can see how it's like a series of pieces. This blue part is going to kind of go straight up along the back. And then these right here and right here are going to kind of loosely tab on to those tabs that the legs were previously attached to. So just kind of bring that all down. And you don't have to peg them in if you don't want to, but I feel like it just really keeps it together. Let me zoom back out. So there you go. So you got your Skalor / Gulf all set to go. He does have one heck of a backpack, I will give you that. Now the directions tell you to leave this piece sticking straight out, but I like to kind of bend it all the way down. Now, it would get in the way if you're trying to do waist articulation, so just be careful with that, but otherwise it tucks in pretty nicely. You could even kind of just maybe to about there, that way it wouldn't get in the way. of the waist articulation, but it's up to you. I kind of just push it all the way in. But either way, he looks fantastic. I absolutely love this robot mode. So just taking a little bit closer look here. Right off the bat, paint applications looking amazing. You have the paint here on the little part of the foot, on the shins, down this part of the robot foot, kneecaps. That face sculpt is perfect. I absolutely love that. The red visors with the gold face paint. You have a nice Decepticon symbol there on the chest. It's just a really cool color combination. All of the Seacons with the kind of blues and the light pink and the kind of seafoam green and the magenta. It's just a weird color scheme that probably shouldn't work, but it just really does. This piece we took off earlier as a tail can flip around and become a gun. So you can just have him hold that if you like. That can peg right into the fist. So he's got a gun. And then we'll take that part earlier that we thought was a blade. So let's see. I don't think it can peg in this way. So yeah, maybe it's not a blade. Because you can see it doesn't really peg into his hand. You could peg it in this way. But then it kind of looks backwards and doesn't really make any sense. So unfortunately, because of these pieces right here, it doesn't really fit into the fist because they kind of get in the way of the forearm. Like I said, you could do it the other way. You could do it like this. That doesn't really make any sense either. So I guess that's why the directions don't really show him holding it. I thought it would be like a sword because it looks cool. It looks like it could make a really cool sword. But it doesn't really fit into the fist. So that's kind of a bummer. If you wanted him to hold this, I guess you could. It's a little weird, but it does peg into his hand. So if he wanted to have a weird finger gun, this weird creepy finger thing, you could, but I'm going to put it off to the side. Also, you have these, which can actually peg into each other for something that we'll take a look at a little bit later on. But why is this not pegging to? There we go. So if you wanted to do something like that, you could have him hold this gun as well. You could have him hold the guns individually, whatever you like. You do have that option, but I kind of just like to leave him with this. Articulation-wise, you can probably guess because, like I said, it's very similar to any of the other kind of Combiner War mold that we've seen to death. But the head is on a ball joint, so that can go side to side. Actually, no, it's just on a swivel. I'm wrong. I apologize. There's not really any up and down, but you can, like, this is a little loose. No, I think it's just a swivel. But you have a ball joint in the shoulder, plus you have that little bit of movement from the part of the shoulder that's actually in the torso. So you can move that up and down a little bit, as you can see. Ball joint in the elbow. No wrist movement because of how it transforms. You do have that waist, but like I said, if you do, you're going to want to move this back, and now I've unpegged the backpack. We'll get there in a minute. But you can see that that moves. Ball joint in the hip. You have a thigh swivel. You have 90 degrees in the knee. No ankle tilt or anything. That's a solid piece. So see if I can get this back where this goes. There we go. Not too shabby. So yeah, really good articulation. Really good accessories. I kind of wish that sword worked out. But other than that, I think Skalor or Gulf, depending on what you'd like to call him, looks really, really cool. I love the robot mode. Alright, so just real quick, I'm going to do the kind of like arm, leg, gun configuration because they're fairly similar. Going into the arm, you're going to basically just fold the forearms in. I keep saying the wrong thing. Put the hands into the forearms. Then you're going to kind of put these back like this. And they kind of just like sit flush against the body. So like that. Then you're going to push this in. And there you go. These things keep coming unpegged. I'm not really sure why. But there you go. You have that. And then you just kind of push the legs together. And then boom, you have an arm. So you would swivel this. You know, actually I guess you'd probably want to swivel it the other way to get the elbow joint that you'd want. And then you would peg the fist in here. Pretty simple. Down like that. And there you go. There's your arm. it tells you you can take this, and you see how you have these two connectors right here. It wants you to peg this into here on the inside. There we go. So I guess that way he has the gun. So there you go. There's the arm. Pretty simple. Next up, what we're going to do, I'm just going to move that out to the side. Pull the hand off here. Pretty much the arms you'll just raise out to the side a little bit. Pop this all the way around so that it's up like that. You're going to bring this down like this. You're going to, well, I'm going to spread them apart. You could probably do it with them together, but for simplicity's sake, you're going to have to unpeg these like I showed you earlier. So you can open this up, put that in there, close this back up. There you go. Then you're going to want to peg that back on, keep it nice and secure. Open this, do that. There you go. Do that. Close that back up. Peg those back together. I mean, like I said, if you've done a few Combiner Wars toys, you know the score. So get these in place. They kind of just sit there like that. And then you're going to bring this back down. Pretty much how you have it for robot mode. And peg that into place. And then you can have the gun there like that if you want. And then you're going to just take this. And I believe you just put these out like this. I'm going to double check the directions really quick, just to make absolute sure I'm doing this correctly. Okay, so no, this will not be the foot. The foot piece actually comes from Snaptrap / Turtler, which is, I thought something was wrong. So I'm like, this does not make a convincing foot. So the foot will actually come from Turtler. He is the centerpiece. And then this will kind of peg into the back and become a heel. So that's what's going to go on there. But what else you can do for the gun mode, the gun mode is essentially the foot mode. But you're going to take those two guns I showed you earlier, peg them together, peg them into where you would normally peg in the fist, drop this down like this, which will probably cause this to come unpegged, so you want to just kind of lightly sit that there. Then you're going to take this piece out, like I showed you earlier if you wanted to put a Prime Master in, and this is actually going to peg into here, kind of snugly, and then I guess this goes down. Is that how this works? And I think that becomes the gun. That's what this shows. Let me just double check this again. They don't have the peg coming down. They just kind of have it being like this. But anyway, this is the gun mode. So every limb has a gun mode, an arm mode, and a leg mode, because with the Seacons there were 6 of them, and the 6th one became a gun. So that is the gun mode. It's basically the foot, leg mode, whatever you want to call it, with a gun stuffed in there and this piece stuffed underneath. So this guy's an excellent first entry into the Seacons, and I'm really excited to collect all 6. I do also have Turtler / Snaptrap, so I will be reviewing him soon. But yeah, these guys are a lot of fun. I have the other 4 pre-order with Hasbro Pulse, so I shouldn't have any trouble getting a hold of those. It appears that the second 2 have been delayed. I think they were originally supposed to be March, I want to say, but now they're going to be April. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, so far, absolutely loving these. I think they did a great job with the weird fish monster mode. The robot mode looks great. The arm, gun, foot mode is perfectly fine. Not amazing, but, you know, it's serviceable. This thing pops off the back a little bit, which is a bit of an annoyance, but it's really not that big a deal. My biggest complaint is I just wish he could hold this as a sword. I think this looks like a really cool sword, and I'm not really sure what this is for, but there's definitely some connection parts here, so I'm wondering if this is going to become part of a sword or something for King Poseidon. That has to be what this is going to come into play later on, so we'll keep you posted on that one, but definitely a really strong first entry. I'm really glad I was able to get a hold of this guy, and I'm pumped. I can't wait for the other 5. So definitely going to be checking out Snaptrap / Turtler soon, and then bring on the other 4. But let me know what you guys think. Actually, you can't let me know because the comments are gone. So if you'd like to let me know what you guys think, and you're over 13, you can hit me up on Twitter. And in my Twitter, there's a link to my Discord. So you can come chat about this guy on there. Otherwise, please like, share, and subscribe. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. And as always, thanks so much for watching.